Welcome back in one of the Bears Trouble Plays YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday, January 8th, and I'm back breaking down some more college basketball for you guys. Before we get into the matchups for Wednesday night, let's take a look at the Tuesday night plays that we had. We had Florida, minus 2.5, 3.5, whatever you got it at. They won this game by 35, 40 points. It was an absolute blowout. Tennessee only put up like 40 points. I did not expect that outcome. I thought Florida would win. I thought they would cover, but did not expect that. Don't think anybody did, but unbelievable what Florida did defensively, and they're a great team. They got the cover for us there. Walter Clayton Jr. The good part is he did not miss a shot in the second half. The bad part is he did not make a shot in the first half. I think he finished with 10 points, 0 of 9 or 0 of 8 shooting in the first half. They really didn't need him. It was amazing to see other guys for Florida step up without Walter Clayton Jr. scoring, and they still won the game by 30-plus points. So this is a very dangerous Florida team that it's good to note for the future. We do currently have UCLA going minus 2.5. I think that game's going to tip off in about, might actually have tipped off. I thought it was a 9 o'clock start. It's currently 8:41, so they might have already tipped off. No, it is a 9 o'clock start. So UCLA is not playing right now. Texas and Auburn is playing. Texas down by 7. No, yeah, Texas down by 7, 28-21. It was 10. I feel like they're going to stay in the game. They're at home. Have them plus 10.5. Trey Johnson, let me check on his points really quick. Texas currently sitting with 21. He has 4 of them, 2 of 5 shooting. He was 0 of 3, so he's made his last 2 shots. So on the right trend over the 16.5 points for him going up against Auburn. So we've got a lot of plays still in action, or I guess I should say 3 plays still in action. So hopefully we can finish with a positive day. But let's take a look at the plays for tomorrow, and we are going to start in the Big 12. Arizona State going up against Kansas. I have nothing against Arizona State. They seem like they're an okay team. Scoring this season hasn't been the best, but if you look at the Kansas Jayhawks, their scoring is about the same with Arizona State. Both these teams kind of in the middle of the pack of scoring, which is insane to say because Kansas not only has their 3 or 4 best players from last year, they brought over 2 players from different conferences that led those conferences in points per game. Things just haven't really worked out for the Jayhawks early in the season. But I'm telling you right now, this is whenever you need to buy in on the Kansas Jayhawks because they're probably going to be the lowest they're going to ever be on the season to win the title. So if you can get them at like plus 800, plus 900 to win the title, I'm not sure what exactly it is, but this is going to be the highest value you're going to be able to get them to win the title. And I do think the Kansas Jayhawks will win the title this season. But looking at this team altogether, they have flaws, and that's just team chemistry. They're not gelled yet together. They've got a whole month and a half to get ready for March, actually 2.5 months to get ready for March. I do think whenever they're done with conference play, it's going to be one of the best teams in the NCAA, and I do think they're already one of the best teams in the NCAA. But I'm taking the Kansas Jayhawks for one reason only. When I was a kid, when I was, 8, 9, 10, 11, I would go to Jayhawks games, and we didn't lose. Not only did we not lose at home, we didn't lose for several years in a row, 10, 11, whatever it was. Now we dropped a couple games over the last couple years at home, and we lost our first conference game of the season in Allen Fieldhouse at home, 62-61 to West Virginia without Tucker DeVries, who's their best player. We are going to dominate Arizona State in this game at home. I have a 15-point win for them. They're minus 12.5. This game's going to be a blowout. And again, I have nothing against Arizona State. This is just me playing the Kansas Jayhawks after losing in Allen Fieldhouse. We don't lose in Allen Fieldhouse. Everybody that comes in against Kansas typically never goes out of that building with a win. West Virginia did it the first game of the season. That's not going to happen the rest of the year unless they get Houston on a bad night and Houston defensively just shuts us down. But I don't see Kansas losing another game this season at home. They're coming off a 99-48 win against UCF. So if you think this team's a little bit upset about dropping their first conference game, you would be right. Winning their next conference game by 50 points. This one not going to be 50 points because I do think Arizona State's a decent team, but I can see this 20 points, 25 points at home. Kansas is going to roll in this game. I will take them minus 12.5 as the play. For the next play, we are going to be looking at Texas A&M going up against Oklahoma. Another game that I'm kind of tossing and turning about, but these are probably the 2 best games on the slate for tomorrow. Oklahoma lost by 28 points to Alabama. We had Alabama, good for us. Now Oklahoma's going to be back home where they have not lost in the season. They took their first loss of the year against Alabama, 107-79. At home against Texas A&M. They're playing in one of the toughest conferences in the NCAA this season. I think the SEC has so many great teams. We saw it with Georgia and Kentucky tonight. Georgia beat Kentucky pretty easily, and that's a very good Kentucky team, top 5 in the nation, I believe they are. Also, I should have broke down the other games that I had, but didn't bet them. Baylor looks like they're running away with it against Cincinnati, so that was a decent play or a decent lean on my part. And then I think the over did not hit in that Georgia Kentucky game. So 1-1 on the games that we did not pick. But back to this Oklahoma game. I don't think Oklahoma's that good. And they did win their first 13 games of the season. They had 2 quality wins against top 25 teams, Arizona and Michigan. But Alabama beat them badly. They're going to be back home against Texas A&M. Texas A&M this season has 2 losses. First game of the year doesn't really count, and then they lost to Oregon in the tournament. So the one thing about Texas A&M I know for sure is that they're going to play hard basketball, and I just haven't seen that a lot out of this Oklahoma team, especially against Alabama. They were getting pounded, and they kind of gave up in that game. They had moments where they cut it to 15, cut it to 12, but they didn't show any heart in that one, gave up 107 on the defensive side. Texas A&M's all heart, Texas A&M's all grit, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They do have really good guards in this game, so I'm just going to lean with the guards. I know it's on the road. I know the smart bets to take Oklahoma on a bounce back at home with points, home dog in the game college basketball off a loss that you'd be foolish not to take it, but I'm going to be foolish. I'm going to take Texas A&M. I think they're the better team. I think they get the job done. I'll take them on the money line as the second play of the day. Let's go to the props for tomorrow. We're going to be looking at one of the players that came over, one of the leading scorers in other conferences. It's going to be Zeke Mayo, and I said 2 players. The other one's Colt. He was from NIU, scored 20 points per game in the MAC conference, was the leading scorer in that conference. Now he's a bench player for Kansas. So that just shows you how weird Kansas has been this season. If you ask me, Hunter Dickinson's got to go. I don't know if you guys have been watching Kansas play. He's a leading scorer this season, most rebounds per game on this team, blah, 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 whatever. He doesn't play defense. He's a liability down low. He can't run the floor very well, and he has no three-point shot. Well, he does shoot the 3 sometimes, but most of the time it's just a brick or something. But we can't have Hunter Dickinson on the floor. I know it's crazy to say that. Everybody's saying he's our best player, but he is not that good. You got to put Colton there. Mayo, Harris, Adams, and then you can rotate Griffin and Storr from bench to starters. But I think that's what you got to do. We have so many great players on this team, so many great scorers, and I do think the best scorer on this team is Zeke Mayo, scoring 14 points per game. He's got a really good field goal percentage on the season. Scored 18.8 points per game last season. He was there for 3 years. Outstanding scorer every single year that he was there. Now with Kansas, feels like he just hasn't got his footing yet. He's had some really good games, and over the last 3 games, he's been spectacular. 26 points, 25 points, 27 points. Did not need him against UCF. He only scored 8 points in that game in the 99-48 win, or 6 points in that game in the 99-48 win. But I do think he's going to be back in the 20-point column in this game going up against Arizona State. He has been getting a lot more minutes over the last several games. Kansas trying to figure out a starting 5. I know that they have been mixing and matching all season long, but Zeke Mayo deserves to be in that 2 spot for the rest of the season. This is the best player on their team. So I'm going to take Zeke Mayo in this game. I think Kansas is going to put up a big number back home after that loss against West Virginia. So give me Zeke Mayo here over his total points as the play. And for the final play of the day, we're going to go back to Texas A&M. I talked about the outstanding guards. One of them is from SMU, Zurich Phillips. He was there with SMU and Chuck Harris last season. I remember watching them a lot. But he's coming over from SMU, 14.8 points per game last season with SMU, 13.3 points per game so far with Texas A&M. Both of these guards have a little bit of a problem, and neither one of them are great at shooting. Texas A&M this season has not been a great shooting team. They've got to figure out a way to be more efficient from the field. Wade Taylor Jr. is the guy we're going to be taking this game, only shooting 38.7% from the field. Phelps, 39%. I was tossing and turning which one I was going to take, but Wade Taylor, at the end of the day, he shoots a lot of threes, and we're going to need a lot of threes in this game for Texas A&M. One thing you got to do on the road in hostile territory, play good defense. Texas A&M does do that. Make threes. Wade Taylor does typically make a lot of threes. He's only shooting 33.7% from the outside this season, but he does take a lot of threes per game, including 7 in the last game against Texas. Only was able to make 1 of them. They still won the game by 20-plus points, but he has been the leading scorer for Texas A&M all season long, and he has taken the most threes per game for Texas A&M this season. 98 threes, been able to come away with 33 of those. I'm just looking at his numbers over the last several games. And it's hard to find a game that he takes less than 5 threes. So I'm going to go with his over total threes in this game. Kind of get it hopefully at 2.5. I'll play this up to 3.5. I do think Oklahoma is going to put up a pretty good effort after that loss that they took to Alabama last week. But I think Wade Taylor comes into this game, knocks down his threes, Texas A&M finds a way to come away with the win. So give me Wade Taylor here, over 2.5 made threes, played up to 3.5 as the final play of the day. Let's go to the recap graphic. We are going to be taking Kansas minus 12, minus 12 and a half coming off that loss at home going up against West Virginia. They did bounce back, 50-point win against UCF, but this is the first game back home after that loss. Texas A&M on the money line on the road. Zeke Mayo over his total points, probably 14.5, maybe 15.5, and then Wade Taylor, hopefully over 2.5 made threes as the play, played up 3.5 as the last play of the day. Guys, it's going to do it for the NCAA basketball picks and props for Wednesday, January 8th slated games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please share dropping this video and subscribe channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.